This is CBS 2 News special coverage. 9/11, 2 years later.
A live view of Ground Zero at the top of the hour. Once again, thank you for joining us here as we mark the second year observance of the attacks on the World Trade Center towers on 9/11. I'm Mario Busquets.
And I'm Sean Gables. Welcome to the special edition of CBS 2 News this morning. It is Thursday, September 11th, 2 years later.
And we are here, of course, bringing you live pictures of reporters also on the scene who will be telling you and showing you in very eloquent words and pictures all morning long of how this second year will be marked. Right now you are, of course, seeing a live view of Ground Zero. And as we mentioned just moments ago as we began our show, approximately 7 a.m. is when the participants will be arriving to participate here and be part of the ceremony.
And we're about 2 hours away when the official ceremony, actually 3 hours away, when the official ceremony starts here at the World Trade Center site. Guests are expected to start arriving around 7 o'clock. A priority, of course, will be given to the victims and the victims' families, but it is open to the public.
That indeed. And right now, we're going to pause briefly, take you back to the studio. Dave Price is standing by to give us a forecast for the day ahead. Good morning, Dave.
All right. Good morning, Mario. Good morning, Sean. And good morning, everyone. As we begin our day together, it is currently cool outside, 63 degrees, but it will be a beautiful day. Plenty of sunshine out there and pleasant conditions throughout the tri-state area. Let's take a look at temperatures right now. We have 51 degrees in Sparta, up in Dutchess County, 51 degrees in Poughkeepsie, up to 58 in Bridgeport, 63 out on the eastern end of Long Island in Montauk, and 55 down in Belmar, up by 1 in Princeton. Through the day, sunshine will prevail. Pleasant weather is how we describe it. 72 degrees at noon. We top it off at 77, just about a degree above our normal high of 76. And tonight, during the evening rush hour, 73 degrees. That's a quick look at weather. We'll update you through the morning. Let's send it on over to Vanessa. She's standing by with traffic and transit. Vanessa.
Good morning. Well, of course, the biggest concern is downtown Manhattan. You'll definitely want to avoid the lower portion of Manhattan and avoid driving there. Right now, we only have one closure, and it just happened out there. It's northbound West Street. One lane is closed out of the Battery Tunnel. We have a lot of expected closures this morning, including West Street from the Battery Tunnel out to Canal Street. Barclay and Murray Street and Warren Streets will also be closed from West Street out to Broadway. Of course, expect some added security at all of your crossings this morning as well. And let's head outside, give you a look at FDR Drive right now. And you can see both directions here in the 70s are moving along just fine. Alternate side is in effect citywide today. Sean and Mario, we'll send it back to you.
All right. Thank you, Vanessa. Time now is 5:03, and we have live coverage this morning in Washington, also in New York. And let's start with Lou Young. He's at Ground Zero. And Elaine Sergani, she's at the Pentagon. Good morning.
Well, good morning from Ground Zero here in Lower Manhattan. We pause today to remember in a formal ceremony that begins here at Ground Zero in just a little over 3.5 hours from now. With this second anniversary, it's worth noting that we are beginning to develop the traditions of remembrance that will be developed in years to come and perhaps handed down to future generations and be in place long after those of us who lived through this event are gone. It is an important day today, September 11th, 2003. The emotional tribute began overnight as more than 10,000 people marched in silence, holding candles, pictures, and flowers here at Ground Zero 2 years ago. If time heals for many, not enough of it has passed.
I think it's more difficult this year than it was last year because now you know it's final. You're not going to ever, he's never ever coming back.
They circled the pit where the Twin Towers stood, the tribute in light, visible for miles. Even 2 years later, the event is difficult to fathom, the images painful to look at. There's that feeling again, the anxiety against a backdrop of fatigue and sadness, a feeling that didn't go away for most of us until sometime later when we were finally able to sleep without dreaming. In the days after the attack, the only antidote was action. The volunteers poured into Lower Manhattan. We were together as we are again today, in mourning and remembrance. Today, children will read the names of the victims, pausing twice to mark the times when each plane hit the towers. The names were read aloud last year, too, but the moment we remember most is that descent into the pit, the surviving family members and loved ones standing around a dusty circle. It is that experience many want to preserve. Mary Caleo lost 2 sons. Do you need this place?
I need it because my 2 sons got killed here. And other people, his friends, everybody they knew got killed here. And we have to show that we have respect for the dead.
A live picture now of the World Financial Center and an immense flag that hangs over the west side of Ground Zero as we stand on the east side here at Church Street and Liberty. The program scheduled to begin at 8:42 this morning. CBS 2 live coverage will begin at 8 o'clock. Children will be the focus of today's event. Children will be singing songs, starting with the national anthem at the beginning and ending with America the Beautiful just about midday. We are standing by, and we will have full coverage throughout the morning. We're live at Ground Zero in Lower Manhattan. Lou Young, CBS 2 News.
Lou, thank you very much.
All right, and as Lou mentioned, plenty of ceremonies will be held here today. Let's give you a rundown of the exact times of those events. Let's start at 8:42. As Lou mentioned, the Star-Spangled Banner will be performed by a children's chorus. Then at 8:46, the moment the North Tower was struck, there will be a moment of silence.
And at 8:47, there will be an introduction of the name readings. Then the victims' families will be allowed by ramp to descend into the pit to lay flowers and wreaths.
Then there will be moments of silence at 9:03 when the South Tower was struck. At 9:59 when the South Tower fell, and then at 10:29 when the North Tower fell. Then at approximately around noon, the ceremony will come to an end.
With all this in mind, if you can't get to a television this morning, remember the memorial ceremonies will be webcast live at cbsnewyork.com and also cbsnews.com, and that is beginning at 8 a.m.
And we'll have more from out here in just a moment, but first, we want to get caught up on the day's news.
That's right. We tossed it over to Michael Pomerantz and Cindy Hsu live at the Broadcast Center. Good morning, Michael and Cindy.
Good morning, Mario and Sean. Thank you.
Just want to get you caught up on what else is happening today. Could be days, we are told, before the U.S. government can say for sure if a new videotape of Osama bin Laden is genuine. Arabic television station Al Jazeera broadcast the tape of bin Laden walking in an unknown mountainous area. Bin Laden's right-hand man, also al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri, is seen with him. It's not clear, though, when this was recorded. An audio tape that was also released yesterday warns of renewed attacks against the U.S.
The great battle will come, and it has not started yet. You will be punished for your crimes.
In his audio message, bin Laden does not make any references at all to recent events that would date this tape, but he does praise 5 of the 9/11 hijackers.
Federal official has banned 5 Saudi airline pilots from flying into the U.S. because they may have links to al-Qaeda. Now, the suspicion surfaced in July when the U.S. did new background checks on 6,000 foreign pilots flying for dozens of international airlines. Officials don't believe the 5 Saudi pilots were plotting to use aircraft to attack the U.S., but they say they were banned out of caution. In Iraq, an American soldier on bomb disposal duty has been killed in Baghdad, and it happened just hours after a deadly car bombing in northern Iraq. The car bombing is believed to have been aimed at U.S. intelligence agents. It happened in what was supposed to be the safest part of Iraq, the northern city of Abril, where pro-American Kurds are in control. A 5-year-old Iraqi boy was killed, 40 others were hurt. 3 of the injured Americans are intelligence officers.
An embarrassing mistake at the Essex County Jail, and CBS 2 does have the exclusive details for you. Somebody released the suspect at the center of an infamous case involving a child's death in Newark. 17-year-old Wesley Murphy was locked up in January in a case that shook up New Jersey's Child Welfare Agency, the death of 7-year-old Fahim Williams. He was Murphy's cousin. Now, somebody at the jail released Murphy by mistake last Friday.
They told me to sign this paper.
How long have you been out?
Do we need our camera?
Probably like 3 days, 4 days.
There's a camera.
What have you been doing since then?
Nothing. Just chilling with my friends. I go see my family. That's all.
Saw your family?
Yeah, just playing basketball.
Murphy was taken into custody last night after his attorney negotiated his surrender. Jersey City police are asking rapper 50 Cent to come forward this morning, answer a few questions about some gunshots. Bullets were flying early Tuesday when the rapper's entourage arrived at the DoubleTree Hotel. No injuries reported, and police have not confirmed if 50 Cent was among the group that arrived at that hotel.
The blackout of 2003 is topping the agenda for state lawmakers as they prepare for a special session in Albany next week. The state Senate could take up bills next Tuesday aimed at improving New York's power grid, a system that has come under scrutiny since the blackout on August 14th. Senate Majority Leader Joseph Bruno met with other state leaders yesterday. Among the topics reportedly discussed, amending laws regulating the siting of transmission lines and ways to help utility companies pay for upgrades to their systems.
It's 5:10 in the morning right now. We're going to go back out to Sean and Mario in Lower Manhattan.
All right.
Michael and Cindy, thank you. Well, a moment of silence will be held in Washington this morning at the exact time the Pentagon was attacked 2 years ago.
Several ceremonies are planned throughout the nation's capital, including the Pentagon. Our Aline Sergani reports.
Sean and Mario, concrete and steel now cover the point where American Airlines Flight 77 plowed into the Pentagon. But still, the grieving continues. And for the families, the healing is a slow process. It was a clear, beautiful morning in the nation's capital when suddenly catastrophe struck. 9:37 a.m. American Airlines Flight 77, flying from Washington's Dulles Airport to Los Angeles, plowed into the Pentagon. All 64 people aboard were killed, along with 125 people inside the building.
It collapsed right now, as you can see.
Including 49-year-old Brenda Kegler, a budget analyst who worked at the Pentagon for 30 years, still overwhelmed with grief. Her family struggles for words to express the heartache. Older brother Robert Hunter is having a hard time letting go of his baby sister.
Believe it or not, I still have a telephone number in my office on the wall where I have most important numbers at. And I still have it, and it's kind of hard for me to erase it.
It's especially hard.
I miss my mom.
For Brenda's daughter to let go.
But I think about her constantly. Not a day go by that I don't think about her. Not one day.
President Bush will begin his day attending church with the First Lady, and then at 8:46, the moment the first plane struck the World Trade Center, Mr. Bush will observe a moment of silence from the White House. At the Pentagon, Aline Sergani, CBS 2 News.
All right, thank you, Aline. A subdued ceremony is planned this morning in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to mark the second anniversary of the Flight 93 crash. Those who lost loved ones began paying their respects yesterday, leaving flags and flowers. Area church bells will toll at 10:06 this morning, this exact time of the crash. 40 passengers and crew members were killed in their fight with 4 hijackers. Stay with us. Still ahead, we'll have more live coverage live from here at Ground Zero. Chopper 2 over the scene. We'll also have other areas of the suburbs where we're covering candlelight vigils and special memorials.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. This view of Ground Zero comes our way from Chopper 2 this morning. Again, we're just under, about 2 hours away from when people will start to arrive here, perhaps even earlier than that, the victims' families and those participating in the 2-year observance of 9/11.
There are numerous observances planned throughout New York area, the tri-state area, and the weather is of particular importance because most of them are outside. Let's go to Dave Price. He has the latest on the forecast and how to appropriately dress for the observance you plan to attend. Good morning, Dave.
All right, good morning, Sean. Good morning, Mario. You remember last year, of course, everyone, the complications from the extremely high winds which were abounding in New York City. Today, not an issue at all. 63 degrees out right now. Let's walk on over to the weather wall, see what's going on, and you can leave the house informed today. And it's 51 degrees right now as we say good morning to folks in Poughkeepsie and Bridgeport, where it's 59, 54 in Morristown, 55 in Belmar at this point, and 59 out in Islip. Sunrise comes up at 6:32 this morning. All right, East Coast looking good still. We have clouds which are still hanging around the Carolinas, and believe it or not, all of this is going to form a low-pressure system, and this is going to move its way up and could bring us some heavy rains as we head into Saturday. Isabel, we're still tracking. Very strong storm, 145-mile-per-hour winds, 650 miles east-northeast of the Leeward Islands. This is going to be a weather maker potentially by Tuesday, Wednesday next week along the coastline. We're going to track that as well. Locally, though, our forecast looks like this. By about 7 a.m., we'll be at 62 degrees. We're at 63 right now. Cool to the north and west all day. 72 at noon, mostly pleasant. And as we head into this evening, we'll be down to just about 67 degrees. Still mostly clear and very nice outside. 5-day forecast stretches out as follows. In the 70s, but Friday night, rain could develop. Saturday could be heavy at times. Sunday and Monday, a little bit of soggy, and temperatures from 76 to 79 degrees. All right, right now we'll send it back to both of you out at Ground Zero.
Dave, thank you very much. Now, there are several vigils to tell you about that are being held this morning to remember those killed on 9/11.
One will begin at sunrise in Point Lookout on Long Island. That's where we join CBS 2 Long Island reporter Reed Lamberty. He joins us with more on the story. Good morning, Reed.
Sean, good morning to you. A very moving memorial to begin here in less than 2 hours along the peaceful waters of the Atlantic. And the centerpiece of this event is going to be the unveiling of a sand monument behind me. Joining me now with the town of Hempstead is Don Clavin Jr. And Don, to see this in person is impressive.
Well, it's a beautiful monument. Naturally, people come to the beach to reflect, and I think this visual aid will help them reflect on the tragic events that happened.
Explain what this is to the viewers.
This is a sand sculpture of the Twin Towers by two award-winning creators. They built it. It will stand at least for another 24 hours, and it will be a visual aid to help those affected by 2 years ago, the tragic events.
It's a focal point before the ceremony, which will last about an hour. It's a focal point afterwards as well. Tell us what people are going to be doing after this event.
Well, after this event, people will have what we call sand dollars, and they will take them and place their thoughts or loved ones or people they knew and put their names and place them in the front of the monument.
You will be placing a sand dollar as well.
I will. 2 years ago, one of my best friend's brothers, Mike Horn, passed away. He was working in the building, and I will take this and I will place it there in honor of him and the memory of a great young man who perished at the tragic events.
And the message here on your dollar, like the message on this monument, 9/11, we'll never forget.
Absolutely.
Don, thank you very much for joining us. A very personal investment here as well. Again, the sunrise ceremony to begin at 7 o'clock against a very peaceful backdrop of the Atlantic and a very impressive monument built in the sand. Well, live in Point Lookout, I'm Reed Lamberty, CBS 2 News this morning. Mario, Sean, back to you.
All right, Reed, thank you very much. Now, still ahead on this special edition of CBS 2 News this morning, we are going live to Battery Park City, where another candlelight vigil is set to start at sunrise.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Time now is 5:21, 63 degrees outside. We're looking at Ground Zero right now, where family members and victims' families and friends coming to commemorate and to give observance to the World Trade victims. They should start approaching or arriving here around 7 o'clock. You're back here at Ground Zero. A memorial service in Battery Park City is happening as well for victims of 9/11. It's due to begin at sunrise.
Let's go to Hazel Sanchez with the story. Hazel, good morning.
Good morning. We are at Robert F. Wagner Jr. Park at the southern tip of Battery Park City, where that memorial service will take place. It will begin at sunrise at about 6 o'clock this morning with the beautiful backdrop of the Statue of Liberty, which is behind me. They're just now starting to set up. A little dark here. They don't have power yet, so it's going to be kind of hard to see. But this observance is for the lower Manhattan community and is fittingly being called Manhattan Remembers. The Battery Park City neighborhood witnessed quite a bit here, as you can imagine, right across the street from the World Trade Center 2 years ago. This morning, they will have the opportunity to find continued support from their neighbors. There will be a candlelight vigil, music, prayers, and liturgical readings from all the major religions. They will all be represented here this morning. Also, several dignitaries will be here. Manhattan Borough President C. Virginia Fields, also Tim Carey from the Battery Park City Authority, and City Council member Alan Gerson. Now, organizers here tell me they are expecting some 500 people to be here this morning, and we, of course, will bring you part of that service live. But that's the latest here, live from Battery Park City. I'm Hazel Sanchez, CBS 2 News. Back to you.
All right, Hazel, thank you very much. Well, many family members and guests will be arriving within the hour at St. Paul's Church.
Near Ground Zero, where there's been a makeshift memorial set up there since the attacks. Also, the bells. Houses of worship citywide will be encouraged to toll their bells at the same time. While the names are read, family members will be able to descend to the ramp here at Ground Zero to the lowest level of the site, where they're planning to lay flowers. We'll be right back.
view of Ground Zero from Chopper 2 this morning. Again, this is our coverage of 9/11. 2 years later, welcome back.
St. Paul's Chapel, right behind us in Lower Manhattan, has become a place for visitors to pay their respects and mourn those lost.
Well, CBS 2 reporter McGee Hickey joins us to show us how the church that has stood for so much 2 years ago is just as important today. Good morning.
That's certainly right. Good morning to you, Mario and Sean. It will probably be 5 years before a permanent memorial to the victims is built at Ground Zero. So until then, this little chapel behind me, St. Paul's Chapel, it's called the Little Chapel That Stood, will serve as that permanent memorial. It's been open through the night. It opened at 8 last night. It will be open until 8:30 this morning, and then there'll be a series of services here to give comfort. The doors are open for people to come in and reflect. For many people, it's a place of peace and a place of hope. St. Paul's Chapel, the New York icon that stood in the shadow of the Twin Towers and still stood afterward as a beacon for the tired rescuers, is now a beacon of hope. Since St. Paul's Chapel launched this exhibit last September, more than 600,000 visitors have come. And with no permanent memorial yet erected, this little chapel that stood has become the place to be.
St. Paul's Chapel has become the Ground Zero pilgrimage site. So we open our doors from 10 to 6 every day, and people show up from all over the world.
Therapist and writer A.B. Curtis was so inspired by St. Paul's that she wrote this children's book.
One of the other announcers said, "Oh yes, I heard that was called the Little Chapel That Stood." I got goose chills.
The Clarks of Lancaster, Ohio brought their children here to see the exhibit and to read the book.
Being in this chapel, you know, I feel the emotions and the prayers, and I want them to experience it. It will be a great lesson in life.
This is the greatest city in the world.
I can't believe it's 2 years already.
And back now live in the cemetery behind St. Paul's Chapel, you're looking at the bell which was given by the City of London to the City of New York on the first anniversary. This bell will be rung for 30 seconds at 8:46 this morning. And once again, the Chapel of St. Paul will be open all day long for quiet reflection. We're live right across the street from Ground Zero. McGee Hickey, CBS 2 News.
This is CBS 2 News special coverage. 9/11, 2 years later.
This is the view from Point Lookout on Long Island, where overnight this incredible sand sculpture has been created as a tribute, as a memorial to the victims of 9/11. Again, it's our continuing coverage of 9/11, 2 years later. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mario Bosque. As we see this view of Ground Zero as well, we want to welcome you back to our coverage.
And I'm Sean Gables. To kind of give you some perspective of where we are, we're on the 10th floor of the World Financial Center, which is about the length of a football field away from where the official site of the ceremonies for World Trade Center victims and their families. We're here at Ground Zero. Ceremonies will officially get underway at 8:38 this morning, but we're expecting much of the crowd, primarily the family and the victims, to get here, start to arrive around 7 o'clock this morning.
Around 7 o'clock. Now, they say there is access to the public to attend. However, they say priority will be given to the victims' families, the survivors, and those who are participating in the ceremony. Once again, we want to welcome you to the special edition. We'll have more here from Ground Zero in a moment.
But first, let's get a check on the weather. A lot of people are planning to head out to commemorate and observe the World Trade Center attack. Dave Price joins us at the Broadcast Center with a look at how you should dress. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Mario. And lest we forget, the pace of life goes on in the tri-state area as well, so a very busy day all around. Time now is just about 5:30. Let's get you up to date on what's happening weather-wise around the area. 63 degrees right now in Central Park, 59 in Islip. We've got 63 in Montauk. Cooler to the north and west, as evidenced by the temperatures in Poughkeepsie and Sparta at 51 degrees. All right, ahead for the day, we'll be at 72 at noon. We top it off at 77 today. Normal high is 76. Plenty of sunshine and comfortable conditions outside. 73 during the evening rush hour. And in just a couple of minutes, I'll be back with a full look at your forecast. But right now, this morning, we check in with Vanessa, who's got traffic and transit. Vanessa.
Good morning. Of course, we want to talk about all the closures in Lower Manhattan. The closure that we have going on right now is northbound West Street. One lane is closed from the Battery Tunnel out to VC Street. But expected closures this morning are West Street from the Battery Tunnel out to Canal Street. Barclay, Murray, and Warren Streets will also be closed from West Street to Broadway, and Greenwich Street will be closed from VC to Chambers Streets. Also, if you're headed out to the buses, expect delays or diversions on the M1, M6, M9, M20, M22, X26, and X90. Let's head outside, give you a look at the Triborough Bridge. Both directions, both decks doing well. Expect some added security at all of your crossings. You may want to budget some extra time there as well. Alternate side is in effect citywide today. Sean and Mario, we'll go back out to you.
Vanessa, thank you. We're back here at Ground Zero, the place where the Twin Towers once stood. It's very quiet right now. That situation is gradually changing. In less than an hour, it is expected to be filled with thousands of people.
Family members of those killed, survivors, and even those who simply just feel a connection to what happened 2 years ago will be allowed to stand out here, right here at Ground Zero, and take part in a solemn ceremony. We're expecting a lot of dignitaries as well.
That's right,
Mayor Bloomberg, Governor Pataki will be here, as well as Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton. But one person who won't be here, who we were expecting, but there has been a change, is Vice President Dick Cheney.
That's right. Now, he will not hear apparently at the request of Mayor Bloomberg, who said the extra security detail would add even more obstacles and problems to the ongoing ceremony, but he will be appearing and presenting himself at a ceremony later today. Now, this is going to be an emotional day for everyone, but also it is going to be a day of silence as well, as that coverage continues and the observance goes on. Apparently 4 times during this ceremony. It begins approximately after 8:30 a.m. It will pause 4 times for moments of silence when each of the planes struck and when the South Tower fell and the North Tower fell. The first time there is a moment of silence. Of course, they're asking all of the church bells in our area to toll as well.
Well, let's go out to Lou Young. He is right outside Ground Zero, where there will be lots of people there to watch and to look at the ceremony. Reed Lamberty, he is at Point Lookout in Long Island. We have team coverage with Paul Moniz. He's at St. Paul's Chapel, and Hazel Sanchez, she's live at Battery Park City.
Well, let's begin with Lou, who is at the corner of Liberty and Church and brings us his perspective. Good morning, Lou.
Good morning, Mario. Good morning, Sean. We are developing, we should keep in mind, the traditions of remembrance that will be carried down in whole or part over the years, long after those of us who experienced the attack on 9/11 are gone. It began overnight. Take a look at the video here. Thousands attended a candlelight march around Ground Zero last night as the 2nd anniversary approached. For many, it all seems like yesterday. You know, time heals, but for many of those most directly affected by loss, not enough time has yet passed. The crowds return again this morning, as you mentioned, to remember our common loss on September 11, 2001. Taking place is about 7 a.m. The program with music and the solemn reading of names begins at 8:42 and should last till about midday. With me now is Tom Hannon, who lost his son in the World Trade Center on September 11th. He was a New York City firefighter with Engine 26 that day, a veteran of the Bridgeport Fire Department and Wyckoff, New Jersey, where you're from, all right? Yeah, and today, 2 years. They say time heals. Is it any better?
No, it's not any better at all. I don't think it'll ever get any better, at least for us. You know, we lost our son. We lost his everything that he could have been, and it's not right that father and mother should be burying a young child like that.
Were they able to find any of your son at all?
They found 3 small pieces of bone and the shield off his helmet. That was all.
And is that enough to bring any closure?
No, I really don't think there's closure. I mean, a lot of people say there is, but for me, it's not. There's no closure because I don't have him anymore. And my wife, you know, same thing. And his sister was his sister and best friend, and then his fiance too. We don't have him. That's the main thing, you know.
Yet for you, it's a personal day today. You're not going to the ceremony today.
No. I came down because of this, and I didn't go last year. I went to both firehouses so that I could be with the men from both houses.
And you're going to church?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about Dana.
Well, he was a good kid. He loved firefighting. That was his whole life as he grew up, and I think he would have done a lot of good things in the fire department because he really enjoyed it, and he studied anything he could get his hands on for that, you know. So.
Well, Tom Hannon, thank you so much, and again today, on this day where we all feel some sense of loss. Our thoughts are with you and the folks who were most directly affected by the events 2 years ago today. And it seems like a lifetime ago, and it seems like yesterday, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does.
We're live at Ground Zero. Lou Young, CBS 2 News.
All right, Lou, thank you very much. Well, here's a look at today's memorial ceremony at Ground Zero, as well as the exact times everything is expected to happen today. At 8:42, the Star-Spangled Banner will be performed by a children's chorus. At 8:46, the moment the North Tower was struck, there will be a moment of silence. At 8:47, an introduction of the name readings. Then the victims' families will descend into the pit via a ramp. There will also be moments of silence at 9:03 when the South Tower was hit, at 9:59 when the South Tower fell, and at 10:29 when the North Tower fell. Approximately at noon, the ceremony will come to an end. Now we'll have more live coverage from out here in just a moment. First, we want to check up on today's top stories.
Let's go out to Michael Pomeranz and Cindy Hsu. They're live at the Broadcast Center. Good morning.
Good morning, Sean and Mario. Thank you.
Here's what else is happening today as all of these ceremonies and remembrances are taking place. U.S. investigators are examining a new videotape for clues to the location and the health of Osama bin Laden. Arabic television station Al Jazeera broadcast the tape of bin Laden walking in an unknown mountainous area. Bin Laden's right-hand man, al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri, is seen with him. Not clear, though, when this was recorded. Now, an audio tape also was released yesterday warning the U.S. of renewed attacks.
A great battle will come, and it has not started yet. You will be punished for your crimes.
In his audio message, bin Laden doesn't make any references to recent events that would actually date this tape, but he does mention 5 of those 9/11 hijackers.
In Iraq, an American soldier on bomb disposal duty has been killed in Baghdad, and it happened just hours after a deadly car bombing in northern Iraq. The car bombing is believed to have been aimed at U.S. intelligence agents. It happened in the northern city of Abril, where pro-American Kurds are in control. A 5-year-old Iraqi boy was killed. 40 others were injured, including 3 American intelligence officers. In the Middle East, Prime Minister Ariel Sharon is back in Israel after cutting short a historic visit to India. Earlier, Israel bombed the home of a senior Hamas leader, Mahmoud al-Zahar, in Gaza. Zahar was only injured, but his oldest son and a bodyguard were killed. The attack was in retaliation for 2 Hamas suicide bombings in Israel on Tuesday that killed 15 people. Hamas vows to target Israeli homes and high-rise buildings to avenge the bombing of the Hamas leader's home.
A man accused in a missile smuggling plot won't be in court today as planned. He has dropped his bid for bail. 68-year-old Hemant Lakhani was arrested in New Jersey last month in a federal sting operation, and he's accused of supporting terrorists and dealing arms without a license. 2 other men also arrested in this sting. A CBS 2 News exclusive today as well. An embarrassing mistake at the Essex County Jail. Somebody released the suspect in a child's death in Newark. 17-year-old Wesley Murphy was locked up in January in a case that really shook up New Jersey's Child Welfare Agency, the death of 7-year-old Fahim Williams. He was Murphy's cousin. Now, somebody at the jail released Murphy by mistake last Friday. He was taken into custody last night.
We now go back to Sean and Mario in Lower Manhattan.
All right, thank you.
Well, the tragic events on 9/11 have changed the New York City Fire Department forever.
Both fire officials and the rank and file admit to that. Penny Crone reports on the state of the department 2 years after the worst tragedy in its history.
In the days, weeks, and months following 9/11, New York's bravest became the world's heroes. They were honored and revered by everyone from the president to school children. Firefighter toys were top sellers. What a difference 2 years make.
We've lost manpower, we've lost fire companies, and we've lost experience.
Today, firefighters still have no contract, no raise. They've watched as 6 of their fire companies were closed because of budget cuts. They've seen a major change in their firehouses with so many new faces. In addition to the 343 brothers lost on that tragic day, more than 2,000 have retired. Today, the average firefighter has 8 years on the job. With it all, 20% of the force has been fighting fires for 2 years or less.
2 years isn't considered a lot of experience. You know, you're learning something every day.
Jerry's first day on the job as a rookie was the day the World Trade Center was attacked. While he survived, 12 firefighters assigned to Ladder 3 were killed in the tower. Only about 1/3 of the men in this house are considered senior firemen. Jimmy Wind has been on the job for more than 22 years.
They know what the house went through. They don't know the guys exactly that we lost, but they know what we've been through, and I don't think, want to disappoint anybody.
Wind says as far as he's concerned, the new firefighters are totally equipped to handle any job, be it a house fire, a water leak, a blackout, or even another tragedy like 9/11. With that said, union officials don't totally agree. They say the devastating loss and massive number of retirements has set the fire department way back.
The seniority, the experience factor in the New York City Fire Department has dwindled dramatically, and that's a bad thing. That is not a good thing. That's a key factor in where we are today.
As far as the firefighters' union reps are concerned, the department has not fully implicated the recommendations of its consultant to repair deep-seated damage to the department.
The things that we need to be prepared for: chemical attacks, gas attacks. You need equipment, training, and resources for those types of things, and yet we've had 6 firehouses closed, 25-man engine companies reduced. We're not prepared.
Fire Commissioner Nicholas Capetta doesn't agree. He says since 9/11, the fire department has hired more than 1,800 firefighters. More than 1,000 men and women have been promoted. He says hazmat training is ongoing. Fire radios are now state-of-the-art. The commissioner promises all New Yorkers can feel as protected now as they did before 9/11.
The average time in the job for firefighters has dropped from 10 years to 8 years. But we have a tremendous amount of experience in this department. I think we're doing pretty well, given the conditions we're operating under.
Just last week, a new class was sworn in. 305 new firefighters. They've already began their training. I'm Penny Crone, CBS 2 News This Morning.
Time now is 5:43. Stay with us. We're going to head out to Point Lookout, Long Island, and give you an update on a vigil that is expected to begin at sunrise.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Oh, hey.
Perspective of Ground Zero this morning comes our way from Chopper 2 as we continue our coverage of 9/11 2 years later. Throughout the morning, we will be out here as people begin to arrive for the World Trade Center Memorial. It is set to begin at 8:30 here at Ground Zero.
Of course, we're expecting to see the first few people trickle in around 7 o'clock. And if you are on your way to attend the ceremonies, Dave Price is at the Broadcast Center with a look at our forecast, along with Michael Pomerantz and Cindy Hsu. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Dave, we were talking last year during the 1-year anniversary. So windy out there.
Very different this year. In fact, things are going to be calm. And you know what? Quite honestly, you can't help but reflect on the weather 2 years ago, and very similar conditions today, a cloudless sky. But we can't forget that the city continues to move in every which way on a normal business day for many people. So we want to give you the weather, whether you are actually going to be observing in some form of 9/11 remembrances or going to work. This is what you can expect, everyone. So let's walk on over to the weather wall and get right to it right now. 63 degrees at this hour, 59 degrees in Bridgeport, and 55 degrees in Belmar, and we've got 54 as you head to Morristown. Now, as far as our conditions through the day, we're talking about actually fine stuff for pretty much half of the country. We do have some cloud cover and some rain along the Carolina coast. That's actually going to form a low pressure system which is going to slide up the East Coast. That could bring us some pretty heavy showers on Saturday. But for today, lots of sunshine, pleasant, 74 to 79 degrees. Mostly clear as we head into tonight. Clouds by morning, and by tomorrow night we could be talking about rain moving on in. Saturday, not a good one. You know what? We're going to amend that forecast. Yesterday we weren't sure how Saturday would shape up, but it looks like we could see some pretty heavy downpours, and by Monday we should begin to clear out once again. That's a quick look at your forecast right now. 63 degrees, on our way up today to 77, and pleasant conditions. We'll send it back to both of you.
All right, Dave, thank you.
A lot of folks, as Dave was mentioning, just trying to get their lives back on course and do their normal routine, if that's at all possible. Remember, right after 9/11, one of the distractions, so to speak, a lot of people took part in the ball games and movies and theater, trying to get some type of, semblance of normalcy back in their lives. And some teams playing today. They're going to have some things
remember, the Shea Stadium was actually a staging area, and Yankee Stadium was used as a place to get together for religious ceremonies. So, but later tonight at Yankee Stadium, there'll be a full color guard and a moment of silence before the game against Detroit. A wreath will also be placed at the 9/11 Monument Park. Meantime, last night at Yankee Stadium, the Yankees and Tigers combined to make 8 errors, 8th inning. Matsui, the ground ball back to the pitcher, goes right through Carlos Pena's glove. Then Aaron Boone, the line drive to right. Craig McGraw can't hold on. Then it's Pena again, another error. Yankees win 15-5, and because Boston also won yesterday, Yankees lead stays at 3.5 games. Meantime, yesterday at Shea, the Mets paid tribute to the different emergency services by wearing their hats on the field. And 5 children of 9/11 victims tossed out the opening pitch. Now, as far as the game itself goes, the Mets were leading 2-0 in the third until Jeff Conine goes deep here, 2-run shot, and we're all tied at 2. Then in the 5th, Raul Gonzalez never moves on this pitch. Whether they thought it was foul, whether he wasn't paying attention, he didn't say. Juan Encarnacion doubles, that allows the go-ahead run to score. Marlins go on to win 7-3. And that means the Mets have now lost 7 straight. So that is a look at sports.
Thank you, Duke.
All right, guys.
All right, we want to go back to Lower Manhattan now. Sean and Mario.
All right, thank you very much. Well, several vigils and memorial services are being held to remember those killed on 9/11.
One is set to begin at sunrise and Point Lookout on Long Island. That's where we find Long Island reporter Reed Lamberty. He's out with the details. And Reed, they have a really beautiful sculpture that's expected to be unveiled today as well.
Sean, good morning once again. It is rather impressive. I'm standing right in front of it. As you can tell, it is a monument made of sand. In it is the tower, Twin Towers, and across the towers is an American flag. Of course, all of it made of sand, created by world-renowned sand sculptors. At the base of this, 9/11 we'll never forget. Of course, a slogan we hear over and over again. This is really the focal point of the sunrise ceremony to begin at 7 o'clock. Not only before the ceremony, but afterwards, folks will be given the opportunity to write messages on sand dollars like this one I'm holding. They can write messages to loved ones or to anyone that they may have known who died in the attack 2 years ago today. And at that point, they'll be placing these sand dollars around the base of this monument. Of course, impressive as you see it, but when we see it together with the sand dollars, I'm sure it'll be very much more impressive. That's the story here from Point Lookout. I'm Reed Lamberty. Mario and Sean, back to you.
All right, thank you, Reed. 2 years after the 9/11 attacks, the complicated process of identifying human remains continues.
It certainly does, Sean. For families still awaiting word, there's uncertainty, there's also frustration. After 9/11, families rushed to provide the medical examiner with toothbrushes, razors, anything that belonged to their loved ones, hoping to match DNA found on human remains.
But that task has proved enormously challenging. Paul Moniz joins us from St. Paul Chapel with more on that. Good morning.
Good morning, Mario and Sean. It's hard to believe, but more than 1,000 families of World Trade Center victims are still awaiting word that their loved ones are in fact dead. Without human remains, these hurting families are having a difficult time because they cannot provide a proper funeral. This morning, an inside look at the medical examiner's lab where the DNA matching process continues. It is in this lab, amid vials, futuristic equipment with names like stars and stripes, and freezers preserving tissue at 112 degrees below zero, that scientists are continuing their efforts to identify nearly 13,000 remains of World Trade Center victims. The recognition that the samples of hair, teeth, bones, and tissue belong to someone's partner or child imparts a sense of duty in those handling the remains.
I definitely want to show respect for the work we're doing the same way I would expect if it was my family member.
The breadth of what the New York City Medical Examiner's Office has accomplished since 9/11 is astounding. More than 1,500 people positively identified, more than half through DNA alone. Scientists have had to work with remains badly decomposed by excess heat and moisture from dousing fires that burned for 3 months. That eroded DNA, and as a result, nearly 1,300 people remain unidentified. Recently, the Emmy's forensic biologist, Dr. Robert Shaler, reflected on the fact so many families are still waiting for word.
I just find it sad. Emotionally, I don't want it to be that way. I want to be able to identify all these folks. That's what I would like. But I realistically and intellectually, I know that that's not possible.
Shaler points out temperatures at the Trade Center exceeded 2,000 degrees, hotter than fires used to cremate bodies. Some remains were likely not recovered at all. For Vinny and Dee Ragusa of Bergen Beach, the waiting process has been wrenching. They lost their firefighter son, Michael, then 29. 2 years later, they are still waiting for scientific proof he died with Ladder Company 279.
Painful. You wait for the report to come out with the names, hoping that it's your child. And it went on for weeks and weeks.
The Ragusas learned last year a vial of their son's blood had been preserved from a donation he made to a bone marrow donor bank. On Monday, they held a funeral, choosing a small engraved case to hold the blood vial. The Ragusas have decided against being contacted by the ME's office, even if there is a DNA match. It's time to begin healing, they say. But they allow, without that vial, they would still want confirmation and have deep empathy for families still waiting.
I know what they're going through. And unless you're in that position, you can't understand the pain.
I think it's important that the families know that this process is still ongoing, and we're not going to stop working on it until we run out of the science to do that.
Just last week, the ME's office made 3 more DNA matches. However, right now, scientists are in the process of drying the remains. They will be placed in vacuum-sealed pouches and eventually brought to the memorial at Ground Zero. Dr. Shaler says he believes that about 70% of the unidentified remains contain usable DNA. The hope is that as technology improves, more matches can be made. But he points out that that technology could be years away, which sadly will mean more waiting for families. Tough at any time, but very, very difficult on an anniversary day. We're live here at St. Paul's Chapel. Paul Moniz, back to you.
All right, thank you, Paul. And still ahead, we'll head out to Battery Park City, where a candlelight vigil is about to begin.
Don't go away. We will be right back.
Welcome back. Time now is 5:57. It's 63 degrees outside. If you notice just to the left of your screen, people are already starting to gather along the southwest corner of Ground Zero. You may know that survivors and victims' families will actually be allowed to go inside the pit where the towers once stood, but space around Ground Zero is open to the public.
That's right, Sean. While the names are being read later this morning, they will descend down the ramp, and they'll be able to lay flowers and wreaths and, of course, their own memorials to the victims of 9/11. Interestingly enough, there will be an all-agency honor guard participating as we continue to see this view from Chopper 2 this morning. Now, it's made up of city, state, federal, nonprofit agencies, FDNY, NYPD, Port Authority, and also, Sean, representatives of the victims' families will be part of that honor guard ceremony as well.
Also here at Ground Zero, there are other events going on around the area to commemorate 9/11. There will be a memorial service at the Most Precious Blood Church at 109 Mulberry Street at 11 o'clock this morning.
Also, the Helping Hand Foundation will hold a walkathon in Battery Park, and that takes place at noon. In addition, there will be a memorial concert at Newport Town Square in Jersey City. That happens at 6 p.m. this evening.
Well, stick with us. Coming up, we will have a special coverage from down here at Ground Zero as we commemorate the attacks of 9/11 2 years later. Don't go away.
More in a moment.
This is CBS 2 News special coverage. 9/11, 2 years later.
Welcome back. Time now is 6 o'clock. It's 63 degrees outside. We're overlooking the Chopper 2 is over the scene at Ground Zero, where the official ceremony to commemorate the second anniversary will get underway at exactly 8:38 this morning. But as we showed you just a few minutes ago, some people have already started to arrive at the southwest corner of Ground Zero.
And once again, thank you for joining us on this very special edition of CBS 2 News this morning. As Sean says, we are at Ground Zero as the nation prepares to remember the victims and the heroes of the September 11, 2001 terror attacks. There's so much to show you here this morning. We're going to cover various angles as we proceed with reporters here at the scene and views of what is taking place here. You see from Chopper 2, you saw that live view of Ground Zero. Also at Battery Park City this morning, as we know, they are preparing for a sunrise ceremony that is taking place there. And as you can see, Sean and everyone, people are already preparing and gathering as they're setting up the podium and getting ready there for that sunrise ceremony as they also observe 9/11 2 years later.
Our Hazel Sanchez is live at the scene, and she will have an update on the ceremonies as soon as they get underway. But if you're planning to head out and you're on your way, let's go to Dave Price. He has a look at our forecast. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Mario, and good day to you, everyone. It's 63 degrees outside right now. We're on our way up to about 77 degrees. It's 6:01, and here's what's happening. As you head out the door, whether you're going to be going to an observance of 9/11 or beginning your normal workday in New York, it's 56 degrees in Princeton. Sparta has 51. It's cool to the north and west in places like Poughkeepsie, 59 in Bridgeport, and 63 out in Montauk. As far as today goes, 76 is where we normally get up to. It's our average high temperature. We'll be at 72 at noon. We'll get to 77 as a high and slip down to 73 as we head to the rush hour tonight. Again, pleasant weather. It should be just a beautiful day out, and we will continue to track the weather picture for you over the next 5 days, and there are some changes in the forecast, so stay tuned for that. Right now, though, a very busy day and a lot of special precautions, I would imagine, down by Ground Zero, and Vanessa's got all of that.
Good morning. Well, we definitely want you to know that you should avoid driving downtown or into lower Manhattan if at all possible. We have some closures to talk about. Right now, the northbound side of West Street, we have one lane closed from the Battery Tunnel out to VC Street. Expected closures later this morning include West Street from the Battery Tunnel out to Canal Street. Barclay, Murray, and Warren Streets will also be closed. West Street to Broadway, and Greenwich Street will be closed from VC to Chambers Street. Now, we also have a memorial service happening uptown at Riverside Church. That's at 2 p.m. Vice President Cheney will be there, so expect some added security and closures from Riverside Drive to Claremont Avenue between 120th and 122nd Streets. We're going to go out to the Whitestone Bridge, give you a look at traffic conditions right now. A nice and easy ride, but do expect some added security at all of your crossings as well. Alternate side is in effect citywide. Mass transit a great option this morning. Short and Mario, we'll go back out to you.
Vanessa, thank you. We have continuing coverage of today's events from several locations throughout New York.
Lou Young is here at Ground Zero, as well as McGee Hickey. She's at St. Paul's Chapel, which served as a refuge for rescue workers. But let's start with you, Lou, who is at the corner of Church and Liberty Streets with details on today's ceremony. That's where a lot of folks who just want to come out and watch will be, Lou.
Yeah, we're on the east side of Ground Zero, Sean, and that's where people come and look at the displays there facing the Ground Zero. We're beginning to see some security assemble here to control the crowds that are expected to arrive within the hour for the ceremony. This really began overnight, and take a look at this. Thousands marched by candlelight around Ground Zero last night, a tribute in light where so many died and where our national sense of safety really was so wounded 2 years ago. For many of the most directly affected, it's been really too soon to talk of healing or moving on, as some people have been talking about. Still controversy about what should be built at the site, as we've been talking about in the last few days. The formal ceremony, though, is set to begin here at 8:42, and today we're forgetting all the controversy and remembering what happened here 2 years ago. Children will be featured heavily. They'll be singing songs and solemnly reading the names of everyone who was killed in the Trade Center attacks. These are the traditions, really, that we will be handing down to future generations, traditions that will, in whole or in part, will be parts of September 11th observances in years to come. Today, many people are talking about their personal loss, but there's also people who have come back to work here. I recently spoke with two workers, Mark Sokolow and John Woods, who work at a law firm that was in the World Trade Center, and their offices completely vanished. Now, they escaped, but they, this month, returned to work at that building with the flag on it back there, One World Financial Center. I spoke with them recently, overlooking Ground Zero. Listen.
Well, I'm not sure it's ever really going to be normal. I mean, you know, just seeing the site and knowing how many people died there in those terrible attacks. But as time moves on, obviously time heals, and seeing all the activity there and the rebuilding and knowing that there's going to be an appropriate memorial and other structures to replace what was there makes you feel a little bit better.
You just continue to live your life the way you're going to live. You can't change what you're going to do thinking every day, what if I do this or what if I do that? I think you just live your life the way you normally are going to live it. And maybe you take a few more precautions, and it won't be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's the better way to go.
These two gentlemen have had multiple brushes with terrorism. It's really a fascinating story. Mark Sokolow survived 9/11 only to be injured in a suicide bombing in Jerusalem months later. You may remember the story. I spoke with him at his hospital bed in Jerusalem right after the attack, and he said the same things he told me the other day, that you have to stand up to terrorists and you have to get back to life to really resist them. John Woods had his own brush with terror. He had reservations on Pan Am Flight 103, the one that crashed over in Lockerbie, Scotland, blown out of the sky by a terror bomb so many years ago, and had decided to spend the night in London. His second brush with terror. Both these gentlemen back at work right here at Ground Zero. We're live at Ground Zero. Lou Young, CBS 2 News.
Such amazing stories, Lou. Thank you very much. Before we let you go, as you stand there at Church and Liberty Streets, we have occasionally seen people passing by your shop there. Are people staying there? Are people already starting to gather as they're doing at Battery Park and other parts of Ground Zero?
Some of those people are on their way to Battery Park. Some of those people are on their way to work, frankly, because this is, after all, Lower Manhattan. Other people kind of milling around. Oddly, when we came here in the wee hours, there were people lined up, and you can actually see it now. You can see people lined up there, kind of looking at the flowers and the displays, and that's pretty much a constant. People come by, they pay their respects, and they move on again. I mean, we're not seeing tremendous amounts of crowds yet, but we are seeing the reverence displayed here that this day demands. September 11th, 2003, the second anniversary of the attack on America.
Lou Young, thank you very much. Well, now here is a closer look at today's memorial ceremony around Ground Zero. At 8:42, the Star-Spangled Banner will be performed by a children's chorus. At 8:46, the moment the North Tower was struck, there will be a moment of silence. At 8:47, an introduction of the name readings. Then the victims' families will descend into the pit. There will be moments of silence at 9:03, when the South Tower was hit. At 9:59, when the South Tower fell. And at 10:29, when the North Tower fell. Approximately at noon, this ceremony will come to an end. And if you can't get to a television this morning, the memorial ceremonies will be webcast at cbsnewyork.com, also cbsnews.com. That is all beginning at 8 a.m. this morning. Sean?
Observances will also be held at the Pentagon this morning. Staffers will observe a moment of silence at 9:37 this morning. That's when a hijacked plane slammed into the Defense Department headquarters in Arlington, Virginia. And around the same time this morning, Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld will take part in a wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. And a very quiet planned ceremony is planned this morning in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to remember those killed in the Flight 93 crash. Those who lost loved ones began to pay their respects yesterday, leaving flags and flowers. Area church bells will toll at 10:06 this morning, the exact time of the crash. 40 passengers and crew members were killed in their fight with 4 hijackers.
Well, Sean, President Bush will observe 9/11 quietly today at 7:30. The Bushes will attend a church service, then back at the White House. He will observe a moment of silence at 8:46, the exact time the first plane struck the North Tower. On the eve of 9/11, President Bush toured the FBI's lab in Virginia. He got a first-hand look at the technology being used in the war on terror. Vice President Dick Cheney will not attend this morning's ceremony here at Ground Zero because of security concerns. He was supposed to represent President Bush, who will spend the day in Washington. Mayor Bloomberg says the vice president did not want his security detail to inconvenience the victims' families. Instead, Cheney will attend a memorial service this afternoon at Riverside Church.
It could be days before the U.S. government can say for sure whether a new videotape of Osama bin Laden is really current. Arabic television station Al Jazeera broadcast a tape of bin Laden walking in an unknown mountainous area. Bin Laden's right-hand man, al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri, is seen with him, but it's not clear when it was recorded. An audio tape that was also released yesterday warns of renewed attacks against the U.S.
Great battle will come, and it has not started yet. You will be punished for your crimes.
In his audio message, bin Laden does not make any references to recent events that would date the tape, but he does praise 5 of the 9/11 hijackers.
Well, in addition to the observance today, Sean, and everyone's security is also on everyone's mind today.
For more on that and just how security has changed since 9/11, we're joined at Ground Zero by our security analyst, Robert Strang. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Mario.
Good morning, Robert.
Security down here could not be tighter today. If you take a look today, there's hundreds of extra police officers right here at Ground Zero. The president, the vice president, I should say, is coming later today. The governor, other federal officials, so there's going to be thousands of extra security. Bridges, tunnels, you can, as Vanessa said, expect delays coming into the city today. Remember, we're still on high alert in New York City, and we're on elevated alert across the country. So although alert is very strong, there's no specific information. This is mostly based on emotion and the anniversary date.
Robert, we know that there's been some weak spots in security, even as recently as there's reports of some journalists who were able to get uranium into the country. Also, just recently with there was a guy from New York that went to Texas who put himself inside a box, was able to fly on a plane and wasn't detected by anyone until he was trying to wiggle himself out of the box. Are there any cracks still in security that they're addressing since 9/11?
Sean, you know, freight and cargo is one of the biggest weak spots. Every security expert agrees that we have so many areas. When the cargo comes into Bayonne and Newark and right here in New York City, less than 1% of the cargo is actually checked. It's a big weak spot. The others that everybody agrees with is immigration. We still have people in the country that we don't know, thousands of people that are here unidentified for. Immigration's a huge bureaucracy. It takes time to turn that around. So there's a lot of issues that we all agree need to be improved. They're getting better, but it's going to take quite some time to turn these things around.
Well, Robert Strang, we certainly appreciate your insight this morning. Hopefully we'll be able to talk with you. You'll follow us, give us more reports throughout the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert.
Live from Ground Zero. We'll have more from Ground Zero here in just a minute, but let's see what other stories are making news today.
Cindy Hsu, Michael Pomerantz are back in the broadcast center with the latest on that. Good morning.
Good morning, Mario and Sean. Thank you.
We're going to have more 9/11 news for you in a moment, but first the CBS 2 exclusive. An embarrassing mistake at the Essex County Jail. Somebody released the suspect in a child's death in Newark.
17-year-old Wesley Murphy was locked up in January in a case that shook up New Jersey's Child Welfare Agency, the death of 7-year-old Fahim Williams. He was Murphy's cousin. Someone at the jail released Murphy by mistake last Friday, but he was taken into custody last night.
In South Jamaica, Queens, police are now questioning the family members of 4 people found stabbed to death inside their home late Tuesday night. A 21-year-old is believed to have been killed first, followed by her uncles and her 84-year-old grandmother. Among those being questioned in this case, the husband of the 21-year-old.
An American soldier on bomb disposal duty has been killed by an explosion in Baghdad. It happened just hours after a deadly car bombing in northern Iraq. The car bombing is believed to have been aimed at U.S. intelligence agents. It happened in the northern city of Abril, where pro-American Kurds are in control. A 5-year-old Iraqi boy was killed and 40 others injured. 3 of the injured Americans are intelligence officers.
5 Saudi airline pilots have been banned now from flying into the United States because of a possible link to al-Qaeda. The suspicion surfaced in July when the U.S. did new background checks on 6,000 foreign pilots flying for dozens of international airlines. Officials don't believe the 5 Saudi pilots, though, were plotting to use aircraft to attack the U.S., but they were banned out of caution.
That's it from here at the broadcast center. Let's go back to Ground Zero and Sean and Mario.
All right, thank you guys. We appreciate it. In the days and weeks following the disaster, St. Paul's Chapel served as a refuge for rescue workers.
You may remember it's also the place where a makeshift memorial sprung up. McGee Hickey joins us from the chapel with that story. McGee, good morning.
Good morning to you both. It's known as the Little Chapel That Stood. St. Paul's Chapel was built in 1766, 10 years before the Revolution, and for 237 years it has withstood everything on this spot, including the World Trade Center attacks. So until a permanent memorial is built, and that's probably at least 5 years away, this has become the memorial, the place for everyone to stop, to ponder, to think, to reflect. It's quite beautiful inside. It's a place of peace and a place of hope. St. Paul's Chapel, the New York icon that stood in the shadow of the Twin Towers and still stood afterward as a beacon for the tired rescuers, is now a beacon of hope. Since St. Paul's Chapel launched this exhibit last September, more than 600,000 visitors have come. And with no permanent memorial yet erected, This little chapel that stood has become the place to be.
St. Paul's Chapel has become the ground zero pilgrimage site. So we open our doors from 10 to 6 every day, and people show up from all over the world.
Therapist and writer A.B. Curtis was so inspired by St. Paul's that she wrote this children's book.
One of the other announcers said, "Oh yes, I heard that was called the little chapel that stood." I got goose chills.
The Clarks of Lancaster, Ohio brought their children here to see the exhibit and to read the book.
Being in this chapel, you know, I feel the emotions and the prayers, and I want them to experience it. It will be a great lesson in life.
This is the greatest city in the world.
I can't believe it's 2 years already.
St. Paul's Chapel will be open all day for quiet reflection. At 8:30, there will be a service with music. And then at 8:46, this bell given by the City of London to the City of New York will ring for 30 seconds. And then at noon, another prayer service. And the doors of the chapel will be open until 5 o'clock tonight. We're live at St. Paul's Chapel. McGee Hickey, CBS 2 News. Back to you, Sean and Mario.
All right, thank you, McGee. And we've just noticed just behind us at the podium where the official ceremony will take place, people are already starting to gather. The sun is starting to come out. It's beginning to see a little sunshine right here over Ground Zero.
As we approach that observance, of course. Up next, we are going to go to Battery Park City for more. How some people there are marking this solemn day. That's what's going on right now. You're watching a special edition of CBS 2 News this morning, 9/11, 2 years later. Here are some of the sounds of the city right now as people gather at Battery Park City for their sunrise memorial service. Some beautiful music there being played as that ceremony continues.
And as you can imagine, traffic will certainly be an issue this morning as people plan to head out to the memorials held throughout the city today, as well as just getting back to work, because obviously this is a work day. And let's go back here at Ground Zero, where ceremonies are expected to get underway. We've already seen people starting to arrive on the southeast corner of Ground Zero, also at the podium, where several dignitaries will speak to the victims and the victims' families. Governor Pataki, Governor James McGreevey, also Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton, as well as Mayor Bloomberg will be there to address the crowds today.
You're seeing sights and sounds around the city. Chomper 2 just gave us that view. Once again, we are back here at Ground Zero. 9/11, 2 years later, as our coverage continues.
Well, let's go out to Hazel Sanchez. She's in Battery Park right now. We just heard the beautiful music that's there, Hazel. The sunrise ceremony, I'm assuming, is about to get started.
Yes, actually just started a few moments ago. It's a beautiful morning here in Battery Park City. We are at Robert F. Wagner Park at the southern tip of Battery Park City, where the memorial service just got underway. You can hear this beautiful violinist playing. This neighborhood is right across the street from Ground Zero. Residents here witnessing the terrorist attacks right in their own backyard. This sunrise ceremony is being called Manhattan Remembers. The sunrise ceremony, which will give residents and workers in Lower Manhattan the opportunity to find strength and comfort in one another. There will be a candlelight vigil, music and prayers and liturgical readings, and all the major religions will be represented here this morning. Battery Park City is not only home to those who live in this neighborhood, but also those whose lifestyles bring them to this waterfront. We spoke to a runner who was here on September 11th, 2 years ago.
This is a very important place. It has many, many memories for me. I'm a runner and have run down here many, many years and was down here on 9/11 and had just left here returning home, and to find this happening in a place that I had just been. It's very important to remember what has happened and not to forget the people who died here, and it's very, very important to be here.
Did you lose any friends that day?
I did, yes. And so this is a special memorial service. I had one friend here.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. You're listening to the violinist who began this sunrise ceremony this morning. Some dignitaries are also here this morning, along with Steve Virginia Fields, the Manhattan Borough President, also Tim Carey from the Battery Park City Authority, and also Alan Gerson, who is the city council member who represents this area. But we will be here covering this all morning, and we'll bring you the latest throughout the day. That's the latest here in Battery Park City. I'm Hazel Sanchez, CBS 2 News. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Hazel. Time now is 6:22. If you're headed out and planning to come to the ceremonies, a sweater could come in handy. It's still a little bit chilly out here.
On the cool side this morning.
Yeah, and Dave, the wind has picked up a little, but nothing compared to last year.
No, and you know what? It's just going to be a little breezy this morning. It should be fine later on. And again, some people will be getting together in mass or en masses for larger ceremonies. Others just having personal observances, and still others continuing on with their daily routine. So for all of you, this is what the weather looks like. Outside right now, temperatures in the 60s in most of the area, but as you head to the north and west, that's where things are cooler. 51 degrees in Port Jervis right now, 54 degrees in Morristown, and 51 in Poughkeepsie. Right here in the city, 63 in Central Park. East Coast looks good. However, right along the North Carolina shoreline, we do have clouds. That's going to form into a low pressure system that's going to become our weather maker as we head into the weekend. In fact, Saturday looks like it's going to be very, very soggy. Isabel, that's going to become a headline next week. Just keep this in mind. Right now, winds are at 145 miles per hour. It's just meandering slowly to the west at about 10 miles per hour, 650 miles east-northeast of the leeward. So we'll watch for the Bahamas at the beginning of the week and our coastline as we head towards Tuesday, Wednesday, and we'll keep track of it for you. 7 a.m. temperatures, 62 degrees again, as Sean and Mario mentioned. Bring the sweaters if you're going outside. 72 at noon. We will see a pleasant day and lots of sunshine. And as we head into tonight, we'll slide down to 67 by 9 p.m. under a mostly clear sky after a day, which sees a high temperature of 77 degrees. 70 on Friday, maybe some rain for Friday night. Saturday, very soggy. Sunday, getting better by the afternoon at 76 and 79 Monday with a thunder shower. Vanessa stands by right now with a look at traffic and transit.
Good morning. Well, of course, we want to talk about lower Manhattan. Of course, already we're seeing some delays. Both directions. West Street only has one lane open currently between VC and Liberty Street. So watch out for that. We have lots of expected closures. Barclay, Murray, and Warren Streets are expected to be closed between West Street and Broadway. Also Greenwich Street between VC and Chambers Streets. And you definitely want to stick with mass transit. That's a great option for you. But do expect some delays and diversions on the M1, M6, M9, M20, M22, X26, and X90 buses. We're going to head outside, give you a look at the Grand Central Parkway. Have some very heavy westbound delays if you are headed towards Manhattan. Go for the LIE. This is all because of a checkpoint, actually, at the LIE. We're told there's some police activity out there, so definitely avoid that one. This is from Jewel Avenue into the LIE, some very heavy delays. Alternate side is in effect citywide. Of course, added security at our crossings also. For a closer look at that, we're going to head up to Jim Smith in Chopper 2, who is over the Holland Tunnel. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Vanessa. We are over the New Jersey side of the Holland Tunnel, and so far the traffic itself is moving well at all of the crossings. No major delays here at the Holland Tunnel. The Lincoln Tunnel is doing fine, and the George Washington Bridge. No significant delays there. Of course, you can expect added security throughout the day that may cause some extra delays. So as you travel to the various crossings, also the East River crossings, you may want to allow a few extra minutes traveling into, especially at the lower Manhattan crossings, the Holland Tunnel, the Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges, and the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. That is where we expect to see the most traffic this morning. Now let's go back to Ground Zero. Sean and Mario, back to you.
All right, thank you. Former Mayor Rudy Giuliani has some advice for the planners who are rebuilding Ground Zero.
But they may not like what he has to say. CBS 2 reporter Marcia Kramer has that story.
Governor Pataki, Mayor Bloomberg, the Lower Manhattan Development Corporation, and all the people involved in designing a new memorial for Ground Zero were told by Mayor Giuliani that their efforts are all wrong and that the entire process should be started all over again from scratch.
The leaf skin design doesn't accomplish putting the memorial first. It accomplishes very large office towers.
That, Mayor Giuliani said, was the wrong way around. First should come a design for a memorial that recognizes that this is the burial ground of thousands of New Yorkers.
The first thing that should emerge from that design is the importance of the place, historically, patriotically, spiritually, not the buildings. The importance of the place should come first. The office buildings should be a footnote. What has happened is the office buildings have become the dominant theme, and the memorial has been the footnote.
And after admitting that he was so personally involved because he lost so many friends at Ground Zero, Giuliani warned that if the politicos in charge today don't heed his warning, they would not be looked on favorably in the future.
A couple of decades from now, when people go there, if what they see are large buildings and a little memorial, they're going to have a very poor impression of our generation.
The former mayor also bemoaned the fact that people aren't remembering 9/11, the day terrorists attacked our city and our nation, the way they used to. They're becoming forgetful, he said.
I don't see as many American flags as I did in the days after September 11, 2001.
In Manhattan, I'm Marcia Kramer, CBS 2 News.
You are watching a special edition of CBS 2 News this morning. Here's another look at Battery Park City.
Did not make us for darkness and for death, but so that we should, with all of our hearts, live and come close to you.
This is CBS 2 News special coverage. 9/11, 2 years later.
And this view of 9/11 2 years later, this observance ceremony coming away from Chopper 2. As you can see, people are preparing for this ceremony today. And we want to thank you for joining us this morning. Good morning once again. This is a special edition of CBS 2 News this morning.
There are so many things planned for the ceremonies here at Ground Zero. They get underway at around 8:30, but as you mentioned, people are already here. Lots of things planned. Children will be the center, probably the focal point of most of it. They will read the more than 2,000 people's names will be read, the victims of the World Trade Center attacks. And something else at sundown tonight, they will have the tribute and light, those two beams of light,
towers of light,
the towers of light that under perfect conditions can be seen almost 25 miles away. That will also be part of the ceremony later towards the end of the evening.
We're about to give you a view of the podium as well. This is coming away from Ground Zero as they prepare that area. And as Sean mentioned, children will be reading the names in pairs, the names read by children of those who were lost. Each child reading approximately 14 names, 100 pairs, 200 readers in all. Should be a very emotional time during this observance.
And they'll mark it with 4 moments of silence.
4 moments of silence.
And they're asking all of the cities, churches and synagogues to have a ringing of a tolling of the bells to mark those moments of silence. Again, it was 2 years ago today that our nation came under the worst terrorist attack in our history.
This year, people all over the country, all over the world, as a matter of fact, they will pause to remember the victims. And again, you are looking at this view of Ground Zero, the site where the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center, once stood.
Also, Paul's Chapel, which is not far away from where the podium is, that was sort of the area where the rescue workers came during the days and months of recovery after the September 11th attacks. They went there to rest, to pray, and to comfort.
That's right.
We're going to have McGee Hickey. She's there. There's going to be a special service there this morning as well. Lots of services throughout the city, the tri-state area. And if you're planning to go out to any of them, let's go out to Dave Price, who is at the broadcast center, with a look at the forecast. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Dave. That's
Sean.
right. Many people will be coming out here to Ground Zero for the observance. So they want to know what the weather will be like today.
Well, you know what? As we begin our day together, everyone, it looks like it's going to be very, very pleasant out there. No windy conditions like we saw last year. It should be comfortable as well. A little cool start to the day right now at 63 degrees outside. As to the north and west, look at that, down to 50 in Sparta, 62 in Montauk, and 55 in Belmar, 62 again in Central Park at this point. Now, let's talk about the weather for the day. 72 at noontime. We will reach a high temperature of 77, which is just about a degree above our normal average, which is 76 degrees. 73 tonight, a couple of clouds rolling in as we head through the evening rush hour, and then some changes in the forecast as we head to tomorrow night and into Saturday. Tell you all about those. We'll track Isabel, and we'll update you on the weather conditions for your workday or this day of observance. Right now, we'll send it over to Vanessa, who's taking a look at transit and traffic.
Good morning. Well, we want to talk about the closures in Lower Manhattan. Right now on West Street, we have one lane closed currently between VC and Liberty Street. Some delays there. Other expected closures this morning include Barclay, Murray, and Warren Streets between West Street and Broadway. Also Greenwich Street between VC and Chambers Streets. Also, if you're headed on the Upper West Side, we do have a memorial service at Riverside Church at 2 p.m. Vice President Cheney is expected to attend that. So expect closures and added security from Riverside Drive out to Claremont Avenue between 120th and 122nd Streets. Let's go outside, take a look at 495 if you are headed towards Manhattan. Out to the Lincoln Tunnel, you can see some taillights heading away. Only a 5-minute wait at the Lincoln and GWB. Minor delays at the Holland Tunnel. All your crossings in pretty good shape, but do expect some added security there as well. You may want to budget some extra time. Mass transit, a great option this morning. We're going to send it out to Sean and Mario once again.
All right, thank you, Vanessa. A 3-hour ceremony at Ground Zero begins in about 2 hours, and we just noticed, we said earlier, Mario, that people are already starting to align themselves around the podium as well as on the southeast corner of Ground Zero.
They're already gathering there, as well as the area where Lou Young is located, having his reports from the corner of Church and Liberty Streets. Good morning, Lou.
Good morning, Mario. Good morning, Sean. Yeah, this is where it'll be happening here. This is where the formal ceremony begins today. We're starting to see the police arrive, and we expect the crowds really to start arriving in about a half hour or so, because as Sean mentioned, it really doesn't begin until after 8 o'clock. With this second anniversary of the terror attacks, we were really just beginning to fashion the remembrance traditions that will be handed down in all or part in successive September 11s to come, because you have to remember, people in generations to come will mark this day as being the worst terror attack ever against America, and we're beginning to establish some of those traditions today. This is a very important day, September 11th, 2003. The emotional tribute began overnight as more than 10,000 people marched in silence, holding candles, pictures, and flowers here at Ground Zero 2 years ago. If time heals for many, not enough of it has passed.
I think it's more difficult this year than it was last year, because now you know it's final. You're not going to ever, he's never ever coming back.
They circled the pit where the Twin Towers stood, the tribute in light, visible for miles. Even 2 years later, the event is difficult to fathom, the images painful to look at. There's that feeling again, the anxiety against a backdrop of fatigue and sadness, a feeling that didn't go away for most of us until sometime later, when we were finally able to sleep without dreaming. In the days after the attack, the only antidote was action. The volunteers poured into Lower Manhattan. We were together as we are again today, in mourning and remembrance. Today, children will read the names of the victims, pausing twice to mark the times when each plane hit the towers. The names were read aloud last year, too, but the moment we remember most is that descent into the pit, the surviving family members and loved ones standing around a dusty circle. It is that experience many want to preserve. Mary Caleo lost 2 sons. Do you need this place?
I need it because my 2 sons got killed here. And other people, his friends, everybody they knew got killed here. And we have to show that we have respect for the dead.
Mary Caleo, one of those members of the 9/11 Coalition of Families, demanding that the footprints of the 2 towers be held sacred all the way down to bedrock. They want no construction there. And, of course, the Port Authority is saying some construction may be necessary, although they'll avoid retail and commercial space. Still big controversy. We just heard a sound check a moment ago as they begin to work out the sound system here, and police officers continue to arrive here for the security, as the crowds are expected to arrive momentarily or within the next half hour for this remembrance, the second anniversary of the World Trade Center attack. We're live near Ground Zero. Lou Young, CBS 2 News.
All right, thank you,
Thank you.
Lou. And of course, there's a lot of events being held today at memorial ceremonies at Ground Zero, as well as across all of the tri-state area. But let's start here at Ground Zero. At 8:42, the Star-Spangled Banner will be performed by a children's chorus. Then at 8:46, the moment the North Tower was struck, there will be a moment of silence. At 8:47, an introduction of the name readings. Then the victims' families will descend into the pit. There will be moments of silence at 9:03 as well, when the South Tower was struck. Then at 9:59, when the South Tower fell, and again at 10:29, when the North Tower fell. Then approximately at noon, the ceremony should come to an end.
A New Jersey town lost the most people in the attacks on 9/11. CBS 2's Christine Sloan joins us now from Middletown, New Jersey, with a look at what people are doing there to mark this sad day.
Good morning, Christine.
Good morning. Middletown was one of the hardest hit communities in New Jersey, losing 37 residents during the World Trade Center attacks. And a ceremony to remember those who were killed will be held here near this memorial next to the train station on Church Street at 8:46 a.m., the exact time the first plane hit the North Tower. Now, during the ceremony for the families, township officials will dedicate this memorial that pays tribute to those who perished in the attacks. It's set in a 2-acre garden where 37 granite markers had been placed, each of them etched with a portrait and a personal story. The garden was created by a nonprofit group of 9/11 victims' families and neighbors. And this year, This township is not going to send police officers nor families. Will they be going to Ground Zero? They are choosing to stay here for the ceremony. We are live in Middletown Township. Christine Sloan, CBS 2 News. Back to you.
Christine, thank you. Well, 2 years after 9/11, the suffering continues for those hit with asthma, lung ailments, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Studies show the physical and psychological effects of the World Trade Center attack have persisted much longer than experts had feared.
CBS 2's Paul Moniz joins us from St. Paul's Chapel with more on that angle of the story. Good morning, Paul.
Mario and Sean, scientists say the smoldering World Trade Center pile was like a chemical factory that sent dangerous pollutants into the air, particles that could be penetrated deeply into the lungs, especially of those who worked at Ground Zero. Well, now, 2 years after 9/11, first responders are paying the price for their willingness to help, and allegations of a government cover-up have fueled fear and anger. At 41, John Graham says he is too young to be saddled with frequent doctor's appointments, potent asthma medications, and occasional flashbacks that still cause night sweats.
It's not gone in any way, shape, or form. It's still here. It's still something I deal with every day.
CBS 2 has been following John's health since shortly before the first anniversary. Last year, we showed you how this once active father of two can no longer run freely with his two daughters. His physical activity severely limited by first-time asthma. When the World Trade Center towers fell, John rushed to look for survivors and remains. A health and safety instructor for the Carpenters Union, he spent days at Ground Zero, believing the government's word that the air posed no long-term health risks. But a recent report by an internal watchdog at the Environmental Protection Agency suggests the EPA misled the public, bowing to pressure from the Bush administration to downplay risk.
That's just criminal to me. That just really, really bothers me, that the government, the people we asked to protect us, are not.
Former EPA Administrator Christine Todd Whitman vehemently denies the White House told her agency to lie. She acknowledges White House officials did edit out words of caution from EPA press releases, but she tells the Star-Ledger, at no time did anyone from the White House say, don't put out this data or manipulate it. Nothing was ever changed in a way to jeopardize the health of the people, she said. Critics aren't buying it. Congressman Gerald Nadler and Senator Hillary Clinton are calling for a federal investigation.
Somebody in that White House, probably under instructions from somebody further up the chain, told the EPA, don't tell the people of New York the truth. And I want to know who that is.
Already, hundreds of firefighters, rescue workers, and other first responders have filed for disability. Others, like John, continue to work, but with difficulty. A recent Mount Sinai Medical Center study found pregnant women exposed to World Trade Center pollution may have had smaller babies. And another Sinai study shows 1 in 5 emergency responders examined in a screening program still has post-traumatic stress disorder. Nearly half have persistent cough, asthma, or upper respiratory ailments. Dr. Jacqueline Moline says her patients struggle to understand why.
I think it was such a massive irritant exposure. It was in so many different components. It overwhelmed the body's defense mechanisms.
John's condition, improved only slightly since last year, has changed the dynamics of his family life. He says it is hardest on his two daughters, who often worry about his health and have reluctantly accepted his limitations.
When we're on the bike, he can't run along. He'll have an asthma attack and we'll have to stop.
In many ways, John knows he's fortunate. He still has his life, but he fears it will never be the same and could be cut short. The important need now is more federal money for long-term follow-up. Keep in mind that the effects of asbestos contamination and exposure to these other contaminants sometimes does not show up for decades. That's when the cancer tumors start. And officials are worried that if these people are not followed closely, they could fall through the cracks. We're live at St. Paul's Chapel. Paul Moniz, back to you.
All right, thank you, Paul. Time now is 6:43, and we're here at Ground Zero, and we've already started to see people start to assemble around the podium and on just the outskirts of the Ground Zero site.
As people start to arrive again, this ceremony is scheduled to start shortly after 8:30. We're bringing you live continuing coverage of 9/11 2 years later. Remember, this is a special edition of CBS 2 News This Morning. We're bringing you a view of Middletown, New Jersey, and their memorial there to the residents of Middletown, New Jersey, who lost their lives on 9/11, many of them who worked at the World Trade Center. Dozens of people, over 50 approximately, died there. From Middletown, New Jersey, our Christine Sloan is there. We'll bring you more of that side of the story in just minutes.
And in less than 2 hours, the ceremonies will be held here at Ground Zero, and we've already started to see people start to align on the podium and get ready for when the official ceremony gets underway around 8:30. Well, let's find out what the other stories of the day are. Let's go out to the broadcast center where Cindy Hsu and Michael Pomeranz are. Good morning.
Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Mario.
Well, U.S. investigators are examining a new videotape of Osama bin Laden to see whether it's authentic.
Arabic television station Al Jazeera broadcast this tape of bin Laden walking in an unknown mountainous area. Bin Laden's right-hand man, al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri, also seen with him here. An audio tape was released yesterday as well, and on it, bin Laden warns the U.S. of renewed attacks and praises 5 of the 9/11 hijackers.
In Iraq, a U.S. soldier on bomb disposal duty was killed by a bomb in Baghdad. Hours earlier, a car bomb believed to have been aimed at U.S. intelligence agents exploded in the northern city of Abril. A 5-year-old Iraqi boy was killed. 40 others were injured, including 3 American intelligence officers.
In Queens, the hunt continues for the killer or the killers who stabbed 4 family members inside their home in South Jamaica. The victims were a 21-year-old woman, her grandmother, and her grandmother's brothers. Their bodies were discovered Tuesday night, and police have questioned the husband of the youngest victim. They say, however, he is not a suspect.
Jersey City police want to ask rapper 50 Cent some questions about some gunplay. Bullets started flying early Tuesday when the rapper's entourage arrived at the DoubleTree Hotel. No injuries were reported, and police have not confirmed if 50 Cent was among the group that arrived at the hotel.
Duke Castiglione in now with sports and some special events, probably all throughout Major League Baseball today.
Yeah, Major League Baseball has a lot planned. Remember, Shea Stadium was a staging area back right after 9/11, and Yankee Stadium was actually where they held some religious services the following week. And later tonight at Yankee Stadium, there will be a full color guard and a moment of silence before the game against Detroit. Now, a wreath will also be placed at the 9/11 monument in Monument Park. Meantime, last night at Yankee Stadium, the Yanks and Tigers combined to make 8 errors. 8th inning, Matsui the ground ball back to the pitcher, goes right through Carlos Pena, the first baseman's glove, then Aaron Boone, the line drive to right. Craig McGraw can't hold on, then it's Pena again, another error. Yanks win 15-5, and because Boston also won yesterday, the Yanks lead over them stays at 3.5 games. All right, yesterday at Shea, the Mets and the Marlins, and the Mets paid tribute to the different emergency services by wearing their hats in the field. And 5 children of 9/11 victims tossed out the opening pitch. Now, as far as the game goes, the Mets were leading 2-0 in the 3rd until Jeff Conine goes deep here. 2-run shot, we're all tied at 2. Then in the 5th, watch the left fielder Raul Gonzalez just stops, doesn't move. Maybe thought it was foul. He didn't really have an explanation after the game. In any event, that allows the go-ahead run to score. Marlins go on to win 7-3, and that means the Mets have now lost 7 straight ball games. And that is Look at Sports.
All right, Duke, thank you.
6:49 is your time right now, and that'll do it from here at the broadcast center.
Let's go back out to Ground Zero to Mario and Sean.
All right, thank you very much, Cindy, Michael, and Duke there at the broadcast center. As you know, Sean, it's going to be a tough day for so many people emotionally. In particular, this promises to be an emotional day for children as well.
Plus their teachers as well as the principals across the area. They're all carefully planning how they will commemorate September 11th. Our education reporter, Carrie Line, is in Lower Manhattan with the story.
Good morning, Sean. Good morning, Mario. You know, there are about half a dozen schools within blocks of Ground Zero, yet on September 11th, not a single child was seriously injured, at least not physically.
When you hear that loud noise, when you hear sirens that don't seem to go away fast enough, they trigger those thoughts of a couple of years ago.
Leadership High School principal Ada Dolt says time hasn't yet healed the wounds of her 650 students, many who watched the Twin Towers burn from their cafeteria windows 2 years ago and now have a bird's eye view of the destruction.
Anytime there's like a big crowd or anything, I get nervous because I remember that day how I felt, like all these people, so I get panicked.
Many are planning to stay home.
I don't like to be down here. It's scary.
For those who do show up, the school will mark the 2-year anniversary by having students make a mural with the help of art therapists from St. Vincent's Hospital. But most city schools are taking a low-key approach this year, even those closest to Ground Zero.
I hope that the school just handles it like a regular school day, and the children need to get past it.
The children and the teachers collaboratively have made a decision about how they want to mark the day.
whether they want to have a moment of silence or do some writing to express what they're thinking about or read a book that pertains to the day.
The city sent out a parent guide in 3 languages to help answer children's questions, and federal money continues to help provide counseling to students and to staff. Dolce herself lost a sister that day.
I will not be in school tomorrow. They know that. I'll be with my family. Tough. And I'm pretty tough.
She's a great lady. Attendance citywide will probably be a little bit off today, but for the most part, schools just want to make this day for all children as normal as possible. And I just want to make one point. All the schools down here, despite the attacks, enrollment is actually growing. And the city this year opened the first high school specifically for Lower Manhattan children. We're live at Ground Zero. Carrie Lyon, CBS 2 News. Mario, Sean, back to you.
All right, Carrie, thank you. Since 9/11, thousands of people have sought to help to deal with the pain of losing a friend or a loved one.
Joining us now is April Natural. She's the statewide director for Project Liberty. It is the organization responsible for helping both parents and children through crisis counseling. Good morning, Ms. Natural. How are you this morning?
Thank you for joining us here today.
We're good here this morning.
Well, what is the best way?
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for joining us. What is the best way for parents to discuss what happened on 9/11 and issues of safety now?
Well, the most important thing for parents to remember is that most children are generally pretty good about letting you know what questions they can handle. So just answer the questions that they ask rather than telling them all the complex kinds of issues that we're concerned about. And children can only handle certain information, and we might assume that they have all of the kinds of questions when meanwhile they may just be concerned about who's going to take them to the bus in the morning. So keep it simple and be honest. Certainly safety and security are their biggest concerns. We should tell children that it's very important for them to stay focused on their job, usually which is going to school, and know that the parents are taking care of them and are responsible for what's happening in their lives. They need to feel like someone else is in charge, and we need to reinforce that for them.
I know my son is probably no different than thousands of others in the tri-state area. They want to know, could this happen again? What's the best response to that?
Well, I think we need to be honest. We can say certainly that we don't know if it's going to happen again, but that the adults are in charge and taking measures to help protect us, and that you as their parents will be the people who will be taking care of them. And certainly that we need to go about our normal business because we don't know what's going to happen in the future at any time about anything. And that the most important thing is that families stay together, that they talk together, that they express their concerns to each other and make sure that you're checking each other out. That's a big part of what Project Liberty has done, is encouraged people to come together, either as families or as couples, to come in and talk about what their concerns are. Very often we assume what people's concerns are, and so we need to talk to each other, initiate conversation, and make sure that we're checking each other out.
Thank you very much, April Natural, statewide director for Project Liberty, for joining us here with that perspective this morning. Thank you.
Well, our family, our own corporate family, CBS 2, was touched by the September 11th tragedy as well when we lost 2 of our own.
Bob Patterson and Isaiah Rivera were the engineers who kept our transmitter working on top of the World Trade Center. It was nearly a year before Bob's parents received word that some of their son's remains had been identified. Isaiah was known as a man who loved his life, his family, and his church. A new altar and stage at the Calvary Tabernacle Church has been dedicated in his name. Those who knew him will say that there is no better way to keep his spirit alive.
Well, time now is 6:55. We've already noticed here at Ground Zero that a lot of people are starting to assemble for the ceremonies that get underway around 8:30 this morning. We do know that primarily near the podium, that will be dedicated to the families and the survivors of the World Trade Center attack.
But we're also understanding that there will be some public access. However, they are giving priority to the families of those victims. To keep in mind a traffic situation if you are considering coming down here as we continue to show you views of this ceremony of 9/11 2 years later. Let's check in with our own Vanessa Alfaro to talk about those road closures, more traffic information you need to know about. Vanessa, good morning.
Good morning. Of course, if you can, avoid driving to Lower Manhattan. Right now, both ways of West Street are closed. One lane from Liberty Street out to VC Street, and that is subject to closure at any time. Also, lots of other expected closures downtown. Definitely avoid driving in if you can. Use mass transit. That's definitely definitely your best bet. Let's also go outside. We'll give you a look at the Queensboro Bridge. Very nice shot for you. Both directions, both decks moving well now, but watch for added security at all of your crossings this morning. Alternate side of the street parking rules are in effect citywide today. And let's get a last look at the forecast. Jeff Baradelli has the details. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Vanessa, and good morning, everyone. It is going to be a nice day across the area. If you do plan on headed outdoors to attend any of the ceremonies, lots of sunshine, pleasant temperatures in the mid-70s. Unfortunately, our weather is going to be taking a turn for the worse during the day tomorrow. We'll start to see the clouds roll in from a coastal low that'll be forming. It is in the process of forming right now off the Carolina coast, so clouds will thicken up tomorrow. It'll become breezy with winds out of the east. That's going to hold temperatures down to around 70 degrees. That storm will actually affect us directly on Saturday with rain. It looks like kind of a rainy, gloomy, breezy day with a temperature of 74. On Sunday, that storm will begin to move out, and our conditions will begin to improve with a little bit more sunshine as we head into Sunday and Monday, but still the chance of showers and thunderstorms. That's a check of your weather forecast. Now here's Mario and Sean from Ground Zero.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much. Once again, let's give you a closer look at today's memorial ceremony going on at Ground Zero. At 8:42, the Star-Spangled Banner will be performed by a children's chorus.
At 8:46, the moment the North Tower was struck, there will be a moment of silence.
8:47, an introduction of the name readings.
Then the victims' families will descend into the pit, and there will be moments of silence again at 9:03 when the South Tower was struck.
9:59 when the South Tower fell.
And then again at 10:29 when the North Tower fell. Then at approximately noon, the ceremony will come to an end.
And remember, if you cannot get to a television this morning, you can still watch. The memorial ceremonies will be webcast live at CBSNewYork.com and CBSNews.com. That's all beginning at 8 a.m. this morning.
And keep it right here on CBS 2 for complete coverage of today's events. Up next, the early show will air from 7 until 8. Then CBS 2 News will take over for special coverage from 8 o'clock until the ceremony ends. Our coverage from Ground Zero will resume with CBS 2 News at 5 until 6:30. And be sure to tune in to CBS 2 News at 11 o'clock for a wrap-up of the day's events.
We want to thank you for joining us for this special edition of CBS 2 News 9/11, 2 years later.
Remember, we will have special coverage of today's events all day long.
Right now, the early show will take over. Dana and Ernie will have complete coverage of the ceremony at Ground Zero beginning at 8 o'clock, right here on CBS 2.
Have a good morning.